Times, page 9. Let me hold this up. This is the Post Office. Gets worse and worse. So they knew the court defence was false when the postmasters and mistresses were being prosecuted. Tim, what do you think of this? They knew basically they knew people at the Horizon headquarters could log in, proxy in to the accounts, even though they said it wasn't possible.
Yeah, this, of course, was one of the features in the ITV drama. We saw this happening at Fujitsu. But this, finally, sometimes you're looking for the smoking gun, the real evidence that the people at the top of the post office really did know what was going on. And we seem to be getting very close to that now. And I'm always reluctant to strip people of their honours but we're now really in the territory, potentially, of people needing to go to jail, because if this is contempt of court. This is knowing something, withholding it from a trial, and people going to jail, not just wrongly, but you're sending them to jail wrongly. So I think this scandal, I didn't think it could get any bigger, but I think it just has got bigger in this latest news.
Also, I think there's £1 million of taxpayers' money spent on basically defending a case which they should have just surrendered on.
A lot more than $1 million, I think. Yeah.
It's an internal report that they did which found that you can proxy in at Fujitsu headquarters, and they kept saying, we can't do that.
And this is a really huge moment. As Tim said, you didn't think that this story could sink any lower. And the levels, I think wickedness is the right word to describe this. Wickedness. And the other question that many of us were asking, if you're running any organisation and you start to see kind of fraud on a mass level, you would probe some questions and say, what's going
to be 700
What's
criminals
going on here? Because the type of person that becomes a sub-postmaster or mistress, they're kind of stalwarts of the community. They're not people who are petty criminals. And so there was that thing which they had no curiosity about. But now, and this comes as no surprise, they knew that this was going on, and they chose to ignore it. And I agree with Tim. I think it is disgusting what happened. I interviewed a postmaster who had been to jail, came out of jail. He never got his life back. He was he was an Asian man, pillar of the community. He said he still feels shame, even though he did nothing wrong. He's lost both of his houses. He's on benefits now. This is
waiting for compensation.
Yeah, you mentioned the Asian thing there, and the average view that most of us have of people who run post is a good one. But actually, I think one of the under-discussed things is a bit of racism, I think, went on here. I think there was a view that took off in some parts of the post office that these people running post office were on the fiddle.
Wow.
And there was a particular association with certain ethnic groups.
Really?
And I think...
And there's been some evidence of that in some of the language that's come out in terms of some of the internal...
They thought these people were on the fiddle, and they didn't let the evidence get in the way of that prejudice.
People often rude about MPs, sometimes with good reason. However, there is a hero in all of this, and he's in the drama, actually, because he pops up and says, well, the great thing about having an MP is that we work for free. And so it's a guy called James Arbuthnot, who's now you're going to meet in the Lords. Lord Arbuthnot spoke about this. He says because he's been campaigning for the sub-postmasters right since the start, and he says there has to be now consequences for the people, executives particularly, who did all this.
We need to have proper punishment, but there has to be a system of retribution for those within the post office management, those within the civil service who were overseeing the post office management, those in Fujitsu who were the ones actually doing the subversion of sub-postmasters' accounts.
James Arbuthnot there in the Telegraph.